What is good, guys? It is the Bluebloods here coming at y'all with another 2-minute drill episode, man. I appreciate everyone tuning in today that tuned into our live stream this weekend, man. Shout out for all the support. It went 1,000 times better than we ever thought it could. And if you didn't tune in, man, I just want to give you a shout out. We appreciate the support, man. We finally hit 500 subs. That hashtag road to 1K is going strong, man. We'll announce some giveaway winners later this week. We're still trying to catch up on some other ones because we had some problems with the shirts printing wrong, but they're on their way. But guys, we got some recruiting news, and I don't think could be a bigger commitment until Arch Manning commits in the 2023 class, but it landed today. 5-star quarterback Brandon Malachi Nelson commits to Oklahoma. He is the number 5 overall player in the 2023 class, the second-ranked quarterback right behind Arch Manning, the number 1 player in the state of California. And, Brandon, we were just talking beforehand just about these stats. So, guys, these stats last year are in 6 games. California played a shortened COVID-riddled season. This kid threw for 1,500 yards, 23 touchdowns with only 4 INTs. His pro comp on 247 for, I want to get his name right, Greg Biggins is Justin Fields. And the national recruiting director for 247 said today on the stream where he announced his commitment on CBS Sports HQ that his pro comparison could be Patrick Mahomes. I just want to let that sink in for you guys. Is like how hyped this kid is coming out of high school. So, we do got some highlights here that y'all can also watch. But, Brandon, what's your first thought on this commitment?
Dude, my first thought is that I think Oklahoma at this point is just undisputed QBU. Everyone wants to go play for Lincoln Riley. He's the quarterback whisperer, and that's not news to anybody. I mean, that's stuff that we already knew. But, I mean, as you're watching these highlights right here, don't let me distract you too much because this is like magic. Not only is this dude capable of passing for like easily 40 yards in the air, he can also throw it on a dime. I mean, that pass right there that we just saw, he cannot miss. Later on, we're going to see another thing. He's not really a mobile quarterback at all. He doesn't use his feet a lot, but that's not to say that he can't. I think his 40 right now is a 4.9, which isn't super fast, but it's better than a lot of quarterbacks out there. We're going to see him in just a second. He's going to go out for a pass, and it's nuts to me. This trick play, it's coming up. Anyway, not the speediest quarterback out there, but he can get it done. He's really elusive in the pocket as well. Super great find. And I mean, who knows what it'll be. He just finished his sophomore season. He's going into his junior year. He's got 2 more high school seasons to watch out for. Arch Manning's the real deal. I think he'll remain number 1 in these ratings, but I don't know. Anything could happen. He could easily move on up. Like Zach said, he's the number 5 national player in the class of 2023, second-ranked quarterback, first overall player in California, and that's the same for 247. Zach, I have to ask you a question, though. How does 247 – because, I mean, you know more about recruiting than I do. How does 247 do their stars? Because he's a 4-star on 247, but still the number 5 ranked player in the country.
247 rolls out their 5 stars once they become juniors. So they'll do a national rollout. So usually the composite has them as a 5-star, but 247 won't list anyone as a 5-star until they release all their rankings. And then they'll roll out, they'll do a countdown of all the 5 stars. So anybody in the top like 32 to 35 are going to be 5 stars.
Okay. Yeah. So he's going to be a 5-star 247. That was just one of those things that caught my attention. I guess we don't really cover too many sophomores on this podcast.
That shows you how good he is. And like Brandon, you mentioned he doesn't have like a lot of breakaway. Like he's not going to be Lamar Jackson. Yeah. His pocket style really reminds me of someone kind of like an Aaron Rodgers, where he's mobile enough in the pocket and mobile enough to make people miss, but he's not going to outrun a DB down the field. Like he's mobile where it counts. He's mobile where he can manipulate the pocket, and he can still be fast enough to get outside the pocket and make you be honest with your defense. And that's what I love about this kid. And he's a winner. He's accurate. And Brandon, a lot of the times when we cover these players, we notice the sophomores and freshmen and early juniors, they have turnover problems. He's a sophomore and only throws 4 picks for an entire season. That's outstanding. And so when he already doesn't have the turnover issues, he's pretty accurate with the football. I mean, those are things that are really hard to teach. So when he comes with it, just imagine what Lincoln Riley can do to increase his ceiling even more.
No, it's going to be scary. I mean, we saw just over the span of Spencer Rattler's freshman season, 10 went up in COVID and everything. We saw his progression throughout his freshman year, where at the beginning of the year, we're like, is he really the real deal like we thought he was? Like, we were kind of scrutinizing him in his first season. And then toward the end of the year, what he looked like? He looked like what we all expected him to look like in college. And so, I don't know, man. This is one of those things that's going to be terrifying. If you want to go check out his huddle, or if you go to his 247 profile and you see some of his highlights, he has 8th grade and 9th grade highlights up too. I would suggest going to look at his 9th grade highlights and then seeing the progression from then until now. Because, yes, he was good as a freshman in high school, but, like, the progression, to me, was nuts. And it's not like he, like, grew 6 inches. He grew an inch and 10 pounds between those 2 years, which is scary because he might grow even more. But also just his decision-making, I think, got a lot better over that season. So by the time he graduates, who knows, man? I mean, right now his comparison is Justin Fields. Who knows what it's going to be by the time he graduates?
Well, and also, so he went to the Manning, I think it was the Manning Passing Academy or one of these QB camps, and Greg Biggins for 247 was talking about how Caleb Williams and him were throwing next to each other. And as a freshman, Malachi Nelson was throwing just as well, making all the throws that Caleb Williams, who is at Oklahoma, has, and that there's a chance that Malachi Nelson can challenge Caleb Williams for the starting job.
Yeah, no, that is going to be an interesting situation because, by the time that Caleb Williams' first season is this upcoming year, and so by the time that I guess he'll be a junior by the time that that Malachi Nelson gets in, so that's definitely gonna be interesting. I'm not sure what what's that.
He's made it work. Lincoln Riley has made it work. Like there's all like between Baker, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray. I mean, there's hardly ever any yes, Chandler, the whole Chandler Morris thing, but Chandler Morris is a step below what kind of talent all these guys are. And Brandon, I also want to mention, looking at this 2023 class for Oklahoma, Malachi Nelson said he wanted to commit because he wants to be a leader of the class and help Lincoln Riley build it. Well, they already got a commitment yesterday, Saturday, recording on Sunday when he commits. Yesterday, Trayon Webb out of Jacksonville, Florida, committed, a running back, the number 46 player in the country, a 4-star, and he commits, and his pro comparison is Kennedy Brooks from Oklahoma, and they get him on board. So you got your running back of the future. This kid averaged 6.5 yards per carry, Brandon, 12 touchdowns in only 10 games. He's a state champion down there in Florida. And so you got your running back, you got your quarterback, and Brandon, on that same visit. So I don't know if LSU has a weekend like that. Like Auburn has a Big Cat weekend. Oklahoma has like a barbecue weekend, like a 3-day weekend where everyone it's like their biggest recruiting weekend in of the year. Brandon Ennis out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida was there too, who's the number 1 wide receiver in the country, a 5-star, top 10 player, Brandon. He's the 8th ranked player in the class. He was there and stayed with Trayon and Malachi in Norman, and Trayon said that there's a 70% chance he'll commit next because they've already said they want to play together at the next level.
No, it's a crazy recruiting tool, and it's one of those things where not every single player in the country is going to want to commit, before their junior season. They want to kind of let the cards lay out. They kind of want to play around. So I think it's a great sign that you have a kid that's willing to commit this early and be this kind of recruiting tool for your school. I mean, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like he wants to get some dogs around him. And so he's going to go ahead and commit and then start recruiting these other players. And that's the smartest thing you can do. But, I mean, we're going to see players like Arch Manning, who's, I guarantee, he's not committing until his senior season. There's no chance. He'll probably wait till National Signing Day after his senior season. But, I mean, we see that, and we just don't normally see these players committing so early. And when they do commit this early, there's normally a couple of switches here and there. With Malachi Nelson's intentions laid out like this, I can't see him switching schools. I really can't.
I don't think, unless something outrageous happens, like Lincoln Riley takes another job, which I don't think is reasonable, or something like that. But to get the level of players that you can get with a commitment like Malachi Nelson, I mean, Brandon, this is like, how do you land your number? Like, no doubt, Nelson was the number one player on Oklahoma's board. You get him as your second overall commit on top of your number one running back, and they're dragging the number one wide receiver with them and Brandon Ennis to Norman. I mean, listen, if Alex Grinch can just recruit defense like he has in the past two classes, we're talking about Oklahoma being a real scary team in the coming years, which I've already said on this podcast, I think Oklahoma is going to be the scariest team in the country this year.
Dude, I think they've been scary. And I don't know. I know their talent's been utilized. I know Lincoln Riley's a great coach. I really think things are about to all come together, though. Just all these recruiting classes they put together over the past few seasons, everything's adding up, and it looks like things are finally going to come together for Oklahoma. I wouldn't be shocked at all if we saw a national championship come out in the next 3-4 seasons.
Listen, if you're a betting man, putting money on a Georgia-Oklahoma national championship this year, that's a good bet. I don't know what odds you could get at Vegas, Brandon. You're the betting guy, so you got to let me know what my odds are. I might have to put some money down on that.
I don't even know what kind of bet you would make for that. Like I don't. Is there a futures bet where you can bet the exact national title? I mean, those odds have to be insane. If you chose like Oklahoma, Georgia national championship, Oklahoma to win, I'd have to imagine those odds are probably like plus 2,000 or something like that.
Bet, sign me up. I was like, sign me up. I'll put 100 on that right now.
Yeah, you win $2,500. That's safe.
But listen, Oklahoma.
I want to say I don't agree with you, but Oklahoma showed us what they were at the end of last season, and I echoed that sentiment several times on this podcast this offseason. And even like before the playoffs were selected, I mean, you and I threw around the idea that maybe Oklahoma should be tossed an invite because of how well they were playing there at the end of the season. So,
I mean, and I'll take this banner down because now we're kind of moving more toward like Oklahoma being the best. And I wanted to talk about this question, but before we get there, I mean, I don't think people are talking enough about Eric Gray transferring to Oklahoma.
Yeah,
that kid is such a baller. I get it. Kennedy Brooks and all of them are coming back. Gray is so explosive that he can be that like Alvin Kamara type guy in the backfield. And with the wide receiving core they have, the offensive line strength, if that defense can take like one step forward and be like a top 25 defense, I don't know if anyone in the Big 12, maybe even the country, can touch this Oklahoma team next year.
I agree, dude. And Gray's a stud. He balled out of Tennessee. Didn't want to stay for obvious reasons. But I think in this Lincoln Riley offense, and Lincoln Riley's not a huge, I developed running backs or anything. Sorry, Dodgers just lost. But he's not a huge like running back developer. He's more known for he's the best QB guru in college football, and I don't think that's a question. But yeah, man, this offense is gonna be terrifying with Spencer Rattler, Eric Gray, and all the recruits they have coming up. Man, it's a wrap.
And let's end on this note, man. Have we ever seen someone be like a positional guru like we've seen Lincoln Riley become with quarterbacks in the history of college football?
I don't think so. I mean, we've seen it rise up through the ranks of football. I mean, like Kyle Shanahan's he's a QB guru, but not necessarily on the collegiate level. A lot of these young coaches, man, they are gurus. Maybe.
I thought maybe Nick Saban and DBs, but he doesn't. But I don't think we've ever seen someone land 3 straight top 2 quarterbacks in 3 straight classes on top of landing Kyler Murray as a transfer and Baker Mayfield as a transfer and Jalen Hurts as a transfer.
That's a fact. I mean, he really does have that. Like when you're playing Madden and your coach can be like, oh yeah, or you can hire the assistants that are like, oh, they attracted running backs in the offseason. That's what Lincoln Riley is for quarterbacks. He attracts every single quarterback in the country.
Listen, I really think it's got to the point where if you're another program and you hear Lincoln Riley's recruiting a quarterback, you just like got to take your name out the hat. You got to put your attention and resources elsewhere because he's going to Oklahoma if Lincoln Riley really wants him.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it's crazy. But guys, I want y'all to comment below. What do y'all think of Malachi Nelson committing to Oklahoma? 5-star quarterback, number five player in the class of 2023. What's y'all's explanation for Lincoln Riley becoming the QB guru of college football? Comment below. Let us know, man. We appreciate the support, man. Subscribe now. Make sure you turn on your post notifications for all things the Bluebloods, man. We'll be back tomorrow with another 2-minute drill. Today, we had an interview drop with North Dakota State defensive end Spencer Wagey. Make sure to go check that out, man. It was a great interview. And tomorrow we are joined by the Citadel linebacker, multiple-time All-American, SoCon Defensive Player of the Year, Willie Eubanks III. Promise you aren't going to want to miss that one. And we got some big announcements later on this week. But guys, subscribe now. Turn on your post notifications. But for B-Dub, for myself, and the Bluebloods, we are out.